Hello everyone, and welcome to my Dragon Ball Super, episode 105 review. For my review, I will talk about the following categories. Enjoy the video. So anyone who is familiar with my reviews know that I usually talk about what I liked and what I didn't like in two separate segments, but what I liked and didn't like about this episode overlapped in many ways, so this review will be unique in that sense. So overall, what I really liked about this episode was the Muten Roshi, or Kame Sennin, getting the spotlight for this episode. Where do I begin? I love all of the awesome moments for the Muten Roshi in this episode, but there is a layer of dislike for almost every awesome moment that I loved. And this is where the like and did not like overlapping starts. First off, the fight between Roshi and the First Woman of Universe 4. It played off of Roshi's weakness, but at the same time, it brought back the element of 89 I really didn't like, how he was essentially a rapist. Roshi has had better self-control than that in the past. For the Mafuba, I was so stoked that it finally worked as intended after all these years of failing. But that moment was slightly interrupted by my brain reminding me, the bottle is against the rules since it's an outside item. If Sensu is against the rules, shouldn't the and Zeno excused it. Blah. Whatever, show. By this logic, if Hit made his lethal moves look really cool and he killed someone, Zeno just might excuse it because it was cool enough for them. I'm just not a fan of rule bending in general whenever it comes to these tournament settings. This episode was another reminder that the power scaling is fucked for this tournament, because there is no way to tell how powerful a lot of characters are. And I know some of you guys like my power level series. Don't expect me to ever make a power level video for the Universe Survival arc. One day, it might change, but for now, I am not touching this arc. Not even with a 72.5-foot pole when it comes to power scaling. The fight between the Universe 4 team leader and Roshi was awesome and all, but I was reminded, Goku fought this guy, and Roshi is now fighting with him. Not only fighting with him, but bodying him pretty bad. Just how strong is Roshi now? I really want to know. I also liked the heartfelt moment between Goku and Roshi, but at the same time I was like, Goku, throw Roshi over the edge! Kuririn is ringed out and unable to fight. Surely he can give Roshi Genki so Goku can conserve his energy. But I understand the moment they were going for and I enjoyed it. Just me being nitpicky. So for the story and pacing, this was the Muten Roshi centric episode. The last episode he was a huge part of, 89, his character was really over the top pervy. And this is Roshi we're talking about here. But now to get off that tangent. A lot was accomplished by Roshi in this episode. 3 fighters eliminated single-handedly by him. Anytime an episode ends with me being satisfied in what was accomplished, I know it had good pacing. Things did not move too slow or too fast in this episode. So for the visuals and audio, this episode looked really good. Everyone was on model, and the Universe 7 audience didn't feel so stiff and lifeless like they have been for the last few episodes. The soundtrack was on point as usual, but not quite as impressive as some previous episodes. So for the character utilization, the Muten Roshi, Kame Sennin, the star of this episode, shined really brightly. And I enjoyed him in this episode far more than I thought I would, considering 89's track record and all. The Universe 4 girls were kinda short-lived. I did find it funny how the first one ran off the edge to avoid Roshi, but at the same time, kinda stupid considering the stakes of the tournament. The second girl sounded a lot like Rando from Yu Yu Hakusho with all the techniques, but similar to that show, we see like 2 of the dozens upon dozens of techniques they supposedly have. The team leader of Universe 4 caught me off guard with how he could transform into that weird bird-like thing. Not much else to say about him though. And the Zenos really are like Mega Evolution or Alolan Chaozus. But screw them for bending the rules, because that opens the door to rules being allowed to be broken more and more, as long as Zeno thinks it looked cool. So, for my overall rating for this episode, I will give it a 3.25 out of 5. I was actually very pleasantly surprised by this episode. I went into it thinking it was going to be another lousy Roshi-centric episode like 89, but it actually managed to make me think to myself, Kame-Sennin still has it, and what a way to make a final impression on us, if this is going to be his last fight. I know on principle, I have a problem with Roshi being here in the first place, because I already found it hard to believe that he could turn his buff state from something he only used when firing the Kamehameha to a regular combat state. But God, did this episode make Roshi look good. Next week though, it looks like there isn't really any focus on any specific characters, but just general fighting. I know I bitch sometimes about the visuals, and yes, I know, comment section, that they work hard to pump out these episodes each week. I have always thought though that this show could benefit from seasonal breaks. Polish up the story and art and all that, but that's beside the point. I'll say it again. Can the artist from 88 come back to draw Piccolo? His face always looked weird or off model in 103, and it looks like it'll be a thing here too, because they could have chosen literally any shot of Piccolo and Gohan to put in the next episode preview, but decided on a really bad one. So that's why I think next week's episode is not going to look that good. But those have been my thoughts on episode 105 and the next episode preview for 106 of Dragon Ball Super. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. I am interested in hearing your opinions. And with that, thank you for watching everyone, and have a great day.